The drama refuses to die down. Hailey Bieber's interview didn't just spark headlines, it reignited a rivalry the internet can't stop watching. What started as a brand feud between Rhode and Rare has now turned personal, and the silence from Justin Bieber is making it even louder. He isn't posting, he isn't defending, and he isn't standing beside Hailey. Instead, he's watching from a distance, calm and unbothered, while fans connect the dots for him. Because in a storm built on attention and ego, Justin's quiet might be the clearest message yet. He's not choosing sides publicly, but everyone knows which one he's on. Everyone already knows what that interview did. Hailey Bieber sat down to talk about Rhode, but the second those clips dropped, the internet exploded. I didn't even have to watch it twice. The tension was written all over her face. When she talked about being original and not copying anyone, it didn't sound like confidence. It sounded like she was trying to draw a line that everyone knew led straight to Selena Gomez. My feed was chaos within minutes. Edits, comparisons, side-by-sides of Rhode and Rare Beauty everywhere. The packaging, the colors, even the captions felt recycled. And while Hailey smiled through it, you could feel the defensiveness under every word. One fan wrote, "She always says she's not copying Selena, but somehow ends up proving the opposite every time." That comment summed up the entire online reaction. People are tired of coincidences that don't look accidental anymore. Hailey's branding might be clean, but her timing never is. Another user said, "She should stop talking and just let her work speak because every interview becomes damage control." And honestly, they're right. The more she explains, the more it sounds like an apology no one asked for. People weren't talking about the products anymore. They were talking about the energy. That same quiet tension that always comes back when these two names share a headline. Because no matter how many times Hailey tries to move past it, the internet won't let her forget who she's competing with. I kept refreshing his page, waiting for something, a post, a story, a small "so proud of you." But there was nothing. Just silence. While Hailey's interview dominated my feed, Justin's page stayed frozen and calm. Basketball clips, quiet moments with friends, no trace of her anywhere. It felt deliberate, like he was drawing an invisible line between himself and the noise. The internet noticed it too. I've seen him defend her before, sometimes too quickly, but this time was different. He didn't say a word. And the more I watched, the more it felt intentional. Like silence was his message. No shade, no reaction, just distance. And honestly, that calm felt louder than any defense he could have posted. Because sometimes, not speaking at all tells you exactly where someone stands. One fan wrote, "It's crazy how peaceful he looks when she's not around. That says everything." And honestly, it did. That one sentence felt like the internet reading between the lines for him. Another commented, "He's not ignoring her, he's escaping her." It sounded harsh, but it captured what so many were already thinking. A third fan said, "This silence isn't random, it's rebellion." And somehow, that one felt the most true. There's something about the way Justin's been moving lately that doesn't feel random. He's not posting quotes or cryptic captions. He's living in quiet patterns that speak louder than any statement could. I noticed it first in his photos. No matching outfits, no road promotions, no forced smiles. Just him, the court, and that calm expression that used to only appear when he was happiest. It's like he's protecting his peace instead of someone else's image. He's skating again, hanging with old friends, and showing a version of himself that feels more like before all the noise began. Every move looks intentional, like he's drawing boundaries without saying a word. I can't lie, it feels different this time. The silence doesn't look cold, it looks free. And maybe, for the first time, he's choosing peace over performance. One fan said, "He finally looks like himself again. No filters, no PR smiles, just Justin." And that comment hit harder than expected, because it's true. His calm feels real for once, not rehearsed. Another wrote, "This isn't distance, it's healing." And I couldn't agree more. For years we've seen him survive the noise, but now it finally looks like he's learning to live beyond it. The internet flipped almost overnight. What started as brand chatter turned into open criticism, and I could feel the shift as I scrolled. People weren't defending Hailey anymore. They were dissecting her. Every clip, every sound bite from that interview was replayed like evidence. The sympathy that once protected her had evaporated, replaced by a kind of exhaustion that felt collective. I watched creators call out the pattern, the timing, the tone, the quiet digs that always end up looking personal. Even influencers who once supported Rhode began keeping their distance, afraid of being dragged into the chaos. It wasn't just backlash, it was fatigue. The audience had seen this story too many times before. I remember thinking how fast admiration turns into annoyance online. One week it's support, the next it's scrutiny. And this time, no amount of curated posts could undo the damage, because the internet wasn't just watching Hailey anymore, it was judging her. People started revisiting old interviews, resurfacing moments where her words mirrored Selena's. Suddenly, timelines were filled with old clips, recycled marketing ideas, and comparisons that no PR team could silence. The comments grew sharper, less about the products and more about character. It wasn't hate for the sake of drama, it was disappointment dressed as honesty. What used to be light gossip started to sound like a collective verdict. People were tired of the imitation, the defensiveness, and the carefully crafted victim narrative. It wasn't about choosing between two women anymore. It was about seeing who had evolved and who was still fighting ghosts. And as the criticism kept building, the silence from her own corner made it worse. Because when everyone's talking and you're nowhere to be found, the story starts writing itself. By the time the noise online reached its peak, everything around Hailey and Justin started to look off. No joint appearances, no interviews, no sign of that united front they usually put on when things get bad. It felt like the distance we saw online had started to spill into real life. I noticed how separate their worlds suddenly seemed. Hailey was deep in brand mode, hosting events, pushing Rhode products, smiling for cameras that didn't smile back. Justin, meanwhile, looked like he'd checked out completely. He was seen at basketball games, grabbing dinner with friends, living like a man who'd quietly stepped away from the chaos. They weren't clashing publicly, but that silence between them said more than an argument ever could. Insiders began whispering about different priorities. Hailey focused on maintaining her image, Justin on protecting his peace. And honestly, you could see it in every photo. Two people sharing a home, but not a rhythm. Like they were existing beside each other, not with each other. I couldn't help but wonder if the pressure finally broke something that was already fragile. Because when one half of a relationship thrives on control and the other starts chasing calm, they stop moving in the same direction. The fairy tale facade they once sold started to crack, not dramatically, but quietly, like glass under pressure. To the outside world, everything still looked perfect. But if you paid attention, you could feel it. The distance, the disconnection, the growing sense that the person beside you might not be standing with you anymore. It wasn't chaos. It wasn't scandal. It was something colder. Indifference disguised as peace. It's strange how silence can sound like loyalty when you listen closely enough. Justin hasn't said a word, but everything about the way he's been moving feels deliberate. Like a man who's made peace with his choices, even if no one else has. I noticed it in the small things. The way his posts stopped revolving around the spotlight, the way his smile looked real again. He's not rushing to fix anyone's image anymore, not trying to prove the perfection of his marriage. It's like he finally realized peace doesn't need proof. There's something almost poetic about it. The same calm that once defined Selena now seems to live in him. The stillness, the restraint, the refusal to feed chaos. Maybe it's coincidence, or maybe he's learned from the only person who ever taught him what peace really looks like. Hailey's still fighting her battles online, but Justin isn't stepping into them. He's watching from a distance, and that distance speaks volumes. It's not rebellion, it's alignment. With stillness, with growth, with quiet. Because sometimes loyalty doesn't mean standing beside someone who's loud, it means standing with what feels right, even if it's silent. And Justin's silence? It doesn't feel like withdrawal anymore. It feels like a decision. So maybe Justin never had to post a quote or take a side because his silence already said everything. Hailey's still defending, Selena's still winning through peace, and Justin's finally learning what it means to step away from noise that never ends. It's not revenge, it's realization. And that quiet is starting to sound like freedom. If you followed this far, tell me what you think. Did Justin finally choose peace over performance? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and make sure you subscribe for more updates. Because this story is far from over.